Yo, what's going on, guys? CC here, and welcome to the next battle video of the ASL Season 6. This will be the Week 7 battle video, and as you can see, we're facing off versus AZ. This week, it is a pretty important matchup. We are currently 4-2 with a 3-game win streak, if I call correctly, so that's nice. And AZ is 2-4 actually. He's actually on a 3-game losing streak. So, two important things to note. I am currently in the playoffs. I am on the 6th seat, if I call correctly. So it is borderline playoffs. We definitely can't slow down any momentum, and we have to get every victory, especially versus teams below us. We can't lose to teams under 500. So, yeah. As for AZ, he actually went from being a playoff contending coach to falling outside of the boat of the playoffs. So we definitely do not want to give him momentum back and potentially be a contender versus us for a playoff spot. No, let's try and continue our win streak. Now, quick analysis on his team from the team builder. He had a pretty tough matchup, in my opinion. I think I definitely had some solid answers to his prime offensive monsters. He has a Mega Medicham, which I obviously have a Cofagrigus for, so he decided not to bring it. Understandable. And also looking at his team, there is a Cutie-Fly, which is also basically an Unmon. It can't do any damage to any team, let's be honest. He also has a very slow team. I think the fastest member on his entire draft was Scyther, and Scyther is not the fastest one at all. I mean, my draft itself isn't the fastest either, but I do have the fastest one on the feud, which is pretty nice. Looking at team matchup, what he probably decided to bring is a Scarfed Landorus to immediately gain momentum versus my draft. Definitely see that being a thing. Sticky webs, obviously, with Cutie-Fly, so that's something we need to look out for, because with sticky webs up, his team gets a lot more threatening. Ferrothorn, probably a bulky answer for either Garchomp or Diancie, even Shaymin or Metagross in that sense. So annoying hazard stacking Pokemon, we have enough answers for it, but will be tough to deal with. Same for Toxapex, basically the same thing. Probably here mostly for Diancie, Metagross, not really Metagross, Diancie and Shaymin, I think. Not really sure, it's just another annoying fat Pokemon we have to take down. Miltank, probably physically defensive. It is arguably his best response to Garchomp. I think Scyther would have been a good one as well versus my team, but obviously Garchomp can have the rocks, and rocks really hinder the viability of Scyther. And then last but not least, he has Tyrantrum. Tyrantrum is an interesting one. Judging from the fact he brought webs, I am going to say it is a choice banded wall-breaking Tyrantrum, because he opted not to bring his prime wallbreaker in Mega Medicham. But I can also see the Landorus being a wallbreaker set and this being a setup sweeper. So that's something we need to look out for. As for our teams ourselves, we have a very offensive Mega Diancie. It's not a sweeping set actually, this is an all-out attacking wallbreaker set. We have the Diamond Storm, we have the Moonblast, we have the Earth Power, and we have the HP Fire to be able to hit his entire draft for good damage. We also have a second wall breaker this team. As you can see, his walls are very slow, and once Pangoro, Big Panda, outspeeds the wall core, they are in a lot of trouble. We're running the quadruple punches this week with the Iron Fist ability. We run Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, Drape Punch, and the priority Bullet Punch. So definitely solid wall breaker, or being able to chip down later in the game. We're rocking the Life Orb, so the punches will be boosted very hard. Then we have a very interesting Garchomp set. AZ had the option to bring a lot of pivoting options between Landorus, between Scyther, between Incineroar. I think I'm missing another one, but he didn't bring that one as well. I'm running a Rocky Helmet Rovskin guard jump to punish the U-turn pivoting, and I'm also running an SD set to potentially catch any walls coming in on my guard jump and just absolutely nuke them with +2 Earthquake or Dragon Step. Metagross is also a very, very cool set this week. We're running Adrenaline Orb. He has a lot of Intimidate users as well. He has Granbu, Incineroar potentially, and the Landorus. Adrenaline Orb basically gives Metagross a +1 speed after getting intimidated. However, we're also having the clear body, so Intimidate actually doesn't lower our attack. So basically it is a free scarf if I can potentially play this Metagross correctly versus the Landorus. Unfortunately, he didn't decide to bring Granbu as a guard jump check or Incineroar in that sense, but hey, we will deal with it. Confagrigus, nothing too special. It is going to be my main Mega Medicham answer. As Mega Medicham isn't here, I'll probably use it for either the Tyrantrum or the Landorus. It is a physically defensive set, so it will be good either way. Also helps versus the Miltank, so that's nice there. And Shaymin, last but not least, Shaymin is my second Landorus check on this team. It is also mostly bulky. It is also fast enough to punish it. We're running HP Ice, Grass Step, Earth Power, and Synthesis. So that's the team. Looking at the matchup, well, obviously the first thing that really screams is Sticky Web lead with a Sash, Cutie Fly. So what I decide to do is obviously lead off with my Mega Diancie. As you can see, we do not have any solid hazard removal on this team. We do have the magic bounce from Mega Diancie though, so I'll be using Mega Diancie pretty aggressively throughout this match in order to keep webs away from me, because yeah, it's just annoying to have webs up, to be honest. So we Mega Evolve right away as he switches out, because yeah, he can't really do anything. We just hit the Diamond Storm. Let's scout for what kind of set it will be, and judging from this damage, it is definitely a more so especially defensive Ferrothorn in order to deal with the Diancie. You see, it is his first swapping to the Diancie, so yeah, it is likely to be a Diancie answer. I assume it has either leftovers or a berry, especially when I do not see any item right now. It is fair to assume it is an Aqua Berry or a Chople Berry, but primarily Aqua Berry. We're running, actually, I made a mistake. I don't think we're running Earth Power at all. We are running Moonblast, Earth Power, Diamond Storm, and Protect, I think. Yeah. You know what? I actually don't remember my set fully, so my apologies. This is an old replay. But yeah, we're running the Protect. Why? Because if he brought Landorus and it was a Scarfed option, I can see what move he wants to lock himself into. Also, if Ferrothorn tries to be cheeky and set up a hazard versus me, I can bounce him back with the Magic Bounce, also protecting myself to scout what move he wants to click. So unfortunately, he doesn't give us the free rocks or spikes, so that's unfortunate. I just go into my big panda right here, not messing around. Definitely do not want to lose Diancie just yet, because it's a phenomenal wall breaker, this team versus this team, and Pangoro can actually take this hit pretty decently. I mean, he does have a good amount of attack invested as well. I think it is a max HP with max attack Ferrothorn, if I remember it correctly. So that's why it did a lot more damage than it should have done to the Pangoro. Well, I'm pretty free to just click Drain Punch. I don't really lose anything from it, because Toxapex is a very easy swapping, right, for Pangoro, but he's probably not anticipating the Thunder Punch, and Thunder Punch will easily put it in. It is an easy T with KO from this range, and will also put it in range later on for Diancie potentially, or Shaymin, if he does stay in or doesn't protect. So that's just our play right now. We Thunder Punch him, we do a ton of damage, easy to hit KO as he scalds. So that's pretty risky, but hey, I was willing to take that trade-off of damage, because I think as long as Toxapex is low, I think my chances of winning are way higher, because Toxapex is probably this game the most annoying Pokemon to take down. I think Ferrothorn is much easier to be dealt with. So yeah, definitely worth for me to to stack a little bit of damage onto a big amount of damage on his wall. This turn, however, I decided to swap out. I didn't think it was worth it to let Landorus come in for free if he wanted to pivot in on the Thunder Punch, or even the Ferrothorn for that sense with Iron Barbs and Rust of Iron Barbs and the Life Orb Recall I'll have to take, so that's not a good time. I decided to make a safe mid-ground play and go into Shaman. Whatever moves he wants to click, it's okay. If he wants to recover himself, that's fine too, but he actually switched out. He swapped into Miltank. Not really sure. Well, he definitely was predicting my swap out, so that's a good play on his part. And yeah, Miltank is one of his rock options. He has multiple ones, but Miltank is probably the most likely. It could have been a Sap Sipper set, I am not sure yet. I'm not wanting to risk him, I'm just going hard in my Mega Diancie, eventually catching him with Stealth Rocks as he body slams. Well, this is okay. I mean, it's annoying if Diancie gets slowed down. But to be honest, it's not for a sweeping set this week. It is primarily to wall break, and even if Diancie's speed is health, it is still able to outspeed the important Pokemon like Toxapex and Ferrothorn. So yeah, definitely still viable. I decide to go for Diamond Storm here, potentially getting the defense raise as well as testing out what kind of Miltank this is. Unfortunately, we do not get a +2 defense buff. He just goes for another body slam. He doesn't actually end up paralyzing me, which is great. We do 33% with the Diamond Storm, so it is looking to be more physically defensive as I expected. So we're just going to hit it with Moonblast. As you can see, that is a comfortable to hit KO. He still has the leftovers, so it is quite annoying. With the leftovers he can stall Moonblast, but it is a losing situation. I'm in an advantage position, so I can just keep on spamming Moonblast as he shows Toxapex as a Spadef switch in. So that was quite interesting, to be honest, because yeah, if Toxapex really is specially defensive, it is not going to take Diamond Storms as well as at all. So I just want to scout what kind of Toxapex it actually is versus my Diancie, and you see I do 39% with Diamond Storm to it, so if he scalds me, I do survive it and potentially put him in to KO range. However, he doesn't choke his Toxapex away and he just recovers. Now, this is a losing matchup for me, so I have no business staying in. Yeah, it's probably best for me to just go into Guard Jump right now. If he wanted to Scald, I was fine with that, but it was most likely for him to just recover another time to get himself at almost full health, which he does actually. So the Guard Jump is now in, and Guard Jump really forces a lot of switches, but I do pack the rocks as well, so I want to get the rocks up right now because I want to see what his swap in is on me, and it actually is the Landorus. But now I have my rocks up, so that's very nice. He can potentially get the rocks up himself right now. I just decide to do a safe switch in my Kofagrigus because, let's be honest, it's my best answer as of right now versus the Landorus, and I want to keep Shaman healthy later on because it can be more useful versus his annoying bulky core. Kofagrigus is actually going to take a big hit. I forgot to mention his Landorus was his Z user, so he went straight away for the Z Sky Attack, trying to catch Guard Jump. If Guard Jump wanted to attack him, he probably would have lived any hit I could go for. And yeah, he wanted to take out my Guard Jump because Guard Jump is a big threat for this roster. But yeah, Kofagrigus sponges that hit very nicely. I also have the leftovers, so I'm in decent shape. Can just freely fire off an attack, but yeah, I decide not to. I decide to Pain Split, expecting something bulky to come in. Fortunately, Miltank isn't as high health as I would have wanted, so don't really recover too much from it. The next turn, I think I double into Mega Diancie because I don't want him to get up rocks, and he might go for it right now because the rocks are already up on his side anyway, so it was no drawback for him to rock. But yeah, I have Diancie in versus him. I decide to double out again because I'm anticipating the Toxapex once again. But he actually stays in, and Guard Jump takes unnecessary damage, and I do review my Rocky Helmet, so you can see it as a nice chip on Miltank, but basically I lost a lot of unnecessary health. Guard jump was pretty stupid on my end, to be honest. But yeah, I swap back out. I don't want to take any damage, unnecessary body slam damage either from Diancie, so I just go and go for Rodriguez, and at this turn he decides to get up his rock. So great play on his part. He is able to get up the rocks on my side, which, to be honest, isn't too bad. I rather have the rocks up on his side than I worry about them on my side, but it's definitely something that just chips away on my roster, so that's something to note. Yeah, Rodriguez is pretty much set here. I don't think he can actually really touch me, and I just decide to knock off his leftovers. So this way he can't 1v1 Mega Diancie with the Moonblast and the Milk Drink leftovers, so he's guaranteed to be able to be beaten. He decided to Milk Drink, and I don't really think he showed much moves at all, so I was anticipating a Toxic, so I just go into Shaman to absorb status. And yeah, I do get status here. I do get paralyzed, which isn't too bad. I want to test out if it is actually Sap Zipper or not. Do a huge amount of damage to the Toxapex, but yeah, it was a Twit KO regardless. I do get paralyzed here, which is pretty annoying. Miltank is back in, so he is saying to me, yo, I am Sap Zipper, which is okay because Miltank realistically can't do much to me. I do have a lot more PP in than he has. I can basically 1v1 this Miltank, to be honest, with my Shaman, with just earth powering it for good damage, because I do have solid special attack investment in order to take on Toxapex better. But yeah, Miltank works as well if it is physically defended, so that was nice. I just want to synthesis up my Shaman here as he just proceeds to attack me. And this is something right here, guys. I do get paralyzed for 2 times in a row. Pretty annoying. I get paralyzed one more time, and yeah, you can basically see it coming from my voice right now. Shaman is going to get sacked to Miltank because it can't get a fucking hit off. Realistically, I should have swapped out my Shaman sooner back into the Miltank because, yeah, let's be honest, losing Shaman is super unfortunate, and Rodriguez was right there. Definitely big misplays on my part, but I was definitely anticipating Shaman not to care at all and just 1v1 him with Earth Power, or at least force him out. Yeah, big dummy on my end, but hey, at least it gives me an option to bring in Pangoro again and regain myself in an offensive position, because I mean, Pangoro is sitting at 9%, dying to Life Orb right now, but I can fire off a big Drain Punch, and looking at his team, he doesn't appreciate Pangoro at all. It is a massive wallbreaker versus the team, so I have no drawback in just clicking Drain Punch. I will definitely survive the hit, do good damage to Toxapex, and actually put myself into 2 Life Orb hits. So I gain a little bit of health, and then I lose it from the Life Orb recoil, so I can get another hit off. From the experience before, it is likely for me to just go for a Thunder Punch or a Drain Punch, expecting either the Miltank or the Ferrothorn as his mid-ground plays. However, I do think he is anticipating this and will go into his Landorus, either intimidating me, making sure Drain Punch doesn't do as much damage, and he is immune for the Thunder Punch, while also covering knockoff play, which is also a very neutral play, which is something I could have went for at this turn. So what I decided to do is click Ice Punch, fully expecting the Landorus to come in, and he actually pulls that switch. So losing Shaman was a big misplay on my end, and it was my main answer to Lando, and Lando already weakened down my Rodriguez, so it was super unfortunate for me. However, with this play, I do sacrifice Pangoro in the progress, but I basically eliminated Shaman's job in this battle, so losing Shaman isn't as bad anymore. He goes into Ferrothorn, I just go into Guard Jump because he realistically matches up very well versus everything in his roster, bar the Miltank, but I don't think he wanted to go Miltank because I went out in Diancie a lot of times on this Pokemon, and Diancie also had a good matchup versus most of his team, bar the Ferrothorn, so Garchomp was a pretty easy play. I do recognize this Ferrothorn as a threat, and I do think it is an Occa Berry, and in order for my Diancie to potentially late game wall break completely through him, I need to weaken it in range of Occa range as well, or potentially fighting step range for my Metagross, because Metagross was a full out attacking set. What I decide to do is just Earthquake it. And as you can see, it is a good amount of damage. It's a 2-hit KO from this range, bar when he lead sheets me. Well, at this range, when he doesn't protect, he still has potential to die from an Earthquake from Garchomp, because I got a pretty meh roll, to be honest. So I could have potentially still 2-hit KO'd him. Lead sheet screams protect to me, so I decide to punish his protect play with a Swords Dance. And right now, Garchomp is in such an advantageous position, because realistically he doesn't have a switch in at all. Miltank can eat potentially one hit, but that's only when he is fully maxed defensive, and even still a high roll can potentially knock out this Miltank after rocks. So looking very good right now. I don't take any damage as long as I KO stuff with lead sheets, so that's good. I basically do not get chipped anymore. He sacks his Fly because he recognizes his weakest link as of this point. And Miltank comes in, and from this range, plus to Garchomp, definitely has potential to knock out the Miltank. So we go for the Earthquake, and he barely listens. And then he goes for the Toxic, which is a smart play. He tried to stall me with milk drinks and lead sheet. He wouldn't have recovered enough. Earthquake also has potential to crit, so that wasn't a smart play on his part. By toxicing it me right now, he can safely protect stall me later down with the Featherthorn, and yeah, not a good time for Garchomp. But Garchomp is in right now, guys. Garchomp is just claiming kills back to back right now. I can just freely Earthquake again, getting rid of the Miltank, which is good, and yeah. After this toxic turn with rocks, I do have one more switch in, and I think I want to save that for the Toxapex, just in case. If things go wrong, I can at least nuke it one more time with Garchomp and potentially KO it from... yeah, potentially KO it from full HP, because Garchomp is that strong. So what I decide to do is swap out my Garchomp here. He's obviously going to protect with the Ferrothorn, and I just go into Cofagrigus, because Cofagrigus isn't really needed at this point. It is nice for the Tyrantrum, but I can revenge Tyrantrum anyway with either Metagross or Diancie, even Garchomp for that sense. So I think it was pretty nice overall to have Cofagrigus out here, because if I swapped in Metagross, which also could have 1v1 this Featherthorn, I took damage and potentially was in range of EQ range for the Tyrantrum, so I didn't want to lose HP on it. So decided to go to Cofagrigus, and this is pretty much a winning battle for me. I just remove his item right now. It shows Occa Berry, so he is also able to get revenge by HP Fire from Diancie as of this point. Yeah, I don't see him 1v1ing this Galactic Ghost right now. So yeah, he does poor damage, very poor damage. He also loses his Iron Barbs, which is nice for potentially Metagross later to get his Spadaf drop, so this is definitely forced out. He decides to go hard into this Tyrantrum, and yeah, this Tyrantrum is easily two-shot by Cofagrigus. If it is a choice banded Tyrantrum, Head Smash has definitely a good potential to knock me out right here. Even though I'm max defensive, it probably will kill me. However, I can easily take it with Metagross and Bullet Punch, but just in case he went for another move or Dragon Dances, I could lose on the spot, because my Garchomp isn't scarfed, and Metagross can't live and +1 EQ. And also he outspeeds Diancie in that case, so I have to stay with my Cofagrigus. A Shadow Ball, he unfortunately misses his Head Smash, so you can view it as two things. Like, it is super unfortunate for him that he couldn't kill my Kofagrigas, because realistically with his wall core he can't break Kofagrigas at all. But on the other side, it was just a free swap into Metagross, and Metagross definitely claimed the kill versus his entire draft, because Sen had but nuked the Toxapex, and I think I ran Hammer Arm for the Ferrothorn. So yeah, it just claimed the kill anyway. So yeah, but this definitely makes Kofagrigas in such a position that I can't lose. I don't have to swap out. I can just easily beat him. It doesn't matter if he Toxic Spikes me, because in the end he's not able to beat me. I knock off his back sludge, so he will have to keep on recovering, and I can just feed off him with my Pain Split. I can just keep on damaging him. Eventually I will get a Spadaf drop, so yeah. Let me just speed up this Process. It's just an annoying process of him Scald Burning me and scalding me and recovering, and I'm just Shadow Balling and Pain Splitting. So it's pretty much over already. Don't really see me losing at all anymore, but hey, that's okay. Yeah, I can just go for another attack and another attack and another attack, try to chip him, get the Spadaf drop eventually, which is very helpful, because right now my Shadow Balls are doing way more damage than it should have. Critical hit with the Spadaf drop doesn't do as much damage, but hey, it is enough to chip him each time and force him to recover. The Spadaf drop makes it so Toxapex can't 1v1 the Kofagrigas at all. Like, without the Spadaf drop it has a chance, but it will be weakened very much. But with the Spadaf drop it can't weaken it 1v1, not at all. So he goes to Ferrothorn, sacks Ferrothorn, and now it's Kofagrigas versus the world. Or actually Toxapex versus the world, but hey, pretty much the same thing this game. I can just continue doing the same thing. Shadow Balling, Shadow Balling, Shadow Balling, Pain Splitting, Shadow Balling, and yeah, that's just what's going down. Eventually, spoiler alert, big surprise, I will get the Spadaf drop after a couple of tries, and yeah, what this means is that I can just basically 1v1 this Toxapex, but I just wanted to make sure that at the stage I do get the Spadaf drop, I am very low, and I wanted to make sure he can't recover off of me. So I just click Pain Split, and let's see if I can skip the turn. I do have more PP than he does. It's just an annoying stall session at this rate. And yeah, here's the Spadaf drop, and as you can see right here, he is in range to drop, but I'm also in range for his Scald, so I just Pain Split. I don't really mind. I just Pain Split. I definitely want him to get low. It is a choke of differential, but I do not mind at all, because to be honest, I want to Garchomp to kill, because Garchomp is leading my kills at this point, is doing very well this season, and yeah, my man Silver the Garchomp can definitely snack up this last kill and give us a nice 3-0 victory. Continuing our win streak, we are currently, after this match, at 5-2. Yeah, our 2 losses are still pretty dumb, but hey, we are sitting in the players, and we do have a pretty solid differential. It's not the best. Other coaches have much higher differential, but they also have less losses, so that's about to be a given. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and until next video, see you guys later.